Good morning and welcome to Cawfeetawk. So, oftentimes we talk about how to give a proper apology. But one of the things that I think a lot of people struggle with as well is how to accept an apology. Accepting an apology is hard because it almost makes you feel like you're okay with how you've been wronged. And many times we're not, but we value the relationship more than we value holding on to the injustice. So it is in our nature to want to forgive. So how do you accept an apology? I think the first thing for me that's important is that the person that's apologizing to me is sincere. We've talked about it 1,000 times. Apologizing over text or on the phone, unless there's so much distance between you, that's literally the only way. Proper, heartfelt apologies should be done face to face. If the apology has the word but, or if only you would have whatever, that's not an apology. That's a manipulation to keep you hanging on. And we've already agreed that's not where we want to be. So you do not have to feel guilty about not accepting an apology that has the word but in it or was done over a text, because those are not sincere. Watch the person's body language, but also watch your own. If you're in a position to accept an apology, then the person who's apologizing may feel vulnerable. So if you have your arms crossed or your face is scowled, they may not feel as confident to be as heartfelt and forthcoming with their apology. Keep your body relaxed and be open to what they're saying. Just because they apologize doesn't mean you have to accept it right away. It's okay to say, I hear what you're saying and I appreciate you acknowledging the wrongdoing. I'm just not ready at this point to let it go. But it's something I'm going to work on, because forgiveness, as we all know, is healthiest for ourselves. Forgiving someone doesn't mean that you're okay with the injustice, doesn't mean you're letting them off the hook. It just means you're not going to walk around carrying the poison, because the only person who gets sick from that anger and that sadness is you. Accepting an apology is part of growth. It's part of also understanding that we hurt people all the time. I said a couple of weeks ago, it's not a matter of if you will hurt someone, it's a matter of when. So we know that we will at some point be in a position to have to apologize. So keep that in mind when somebody hurts you and they make the effort to apologize. Also, I think the timing in an apology is everything, because the more time that goes by after someone hurts you, the harder it is to forgive, because it's hard to believe that the apology is authentic. If you were really sorry, you would have apologized as soon as you realized what it was that you did to hurt somebody. If somebody hurts you and they spend months talking about it with everyone else, and then when they sort of realize that you're not coming around and they decide to apologize, I don't know, those apologies are hard to swallow, at least for me. But learning to accept an apology is a huge part of growth. And it doesn't always mean that you have to continue the relationship. The beauty of accepting someone's apology is you've extended grace, you've extended forgiveness, which is important, and you've sort of released the burden from yourself of carrying around the injustice. But you don't have to continue that romantic relationship. You don't have to continue that friendship, whatever it is. You can say, you know what? I believe this is sincere and I accept your apology and I appreciate you acknowledging what went down, and still choose to walk away, because only you know what is really right for your life, especially if they're a repeat offender. It gets harder and harder to accept apologies from people who continue to apologize for the same injustice. It's like they're clearly not learning their lesson. So at some point you can reserve that grace and forgiveness for someone else. But learning to accept a proper apology is something that you should be really proud of, because a lot of times it's in our nature to want to hold on to anger when we feel like we've been wronged. We want to punish other people for our sadness. They will never feel as sad about committing the injustice as we do about experiencing it. It's just not possible. So a lot of times we don't want to accept apologies because we want to punish them, but we can be stronger than that. It takes effort, I know, a lot of effort, but it can be done. Work on it. If somebody wrongs you and they take timely, sincere steps to apologize, be open to accepting it. And remember, like I said, you don't have to go on with the relationship. Accepting an apology is not a commitment to stay in the relationship or the friendship or whatever it is. It's just that you have decided that you will extend forgiveness and grace, and you are no longer going to carry that cross, because it gets heavy. It really does. Carrying around anger is exhausting and consuming. I've had many different experiences with people apologizing, and I'm getting better at accepting apologies. It's in my nature to hold a grudge. It doesn't do anybody any good. I don't know. Are you a grudge holder? Are you working on accepting apologies? Have you been able to accept them? Are you still struggling with it? Because it is hard. Sometimes I think accepting the apology is harder than apologizing. And it's weird because we've been on both sides, so we know what it feels like. We've been the person who has to apologize. We know how bad we want the person to accept it. The other thing is, so important, if you choose to accept the apology and continue with the relationship or friendship, you cannot berate them over the injustice. You cannot continue to bring it up, because that's not true acceptance of an apology. That's a temporary Band-Aid over a much bigger problem. So give it enough time before you accept it that you know you can truly let it go. Like Adele Dazeem said, let it go. I love you today. Have a great day.